Hello everyone, and welcome to the first part of our 1/350 scale enterprise refit. As you can see here, I have all of the parts for the interior rooms and sets for the refit, including the arboretum and the officer's lounge and the shuttle bay. These are just the parts. I've pulled them out of the box and washed them. You have to wash all the parts with soap and water. They actually felt really kind of slimy, as they still had mold release agent on them. So now that they've been washed and such, they're ready to go. So first we're going to prime them all, and then after that we're going to decide what color to paint them. Now normally I do kind of a dark color on the floor and a lighter color on the walls, but when I do that, a lot of the decals don't show up very well. There is some reference material in Star Trek: The Motion Picture that you can look at, but that's all done with a matte painting, and it's not real easy to discern what colors they are. So I kind of take a little bit of liberty when I paint the shuttle bay, but I'll probably do a light beige on the floor and something a bit contrasty on the walls to kind of give it some definition. Also, before I paint it, I'm going to be putting on all of the Photo-Etch pits, which include the railings and girders that go all throughout the bay, including and on the walls and on the back wall. There's a little railing and things of that nature. So we'll get all of those mounted up, and then we'll paint it. I normally glue on the girders with either CA glue or canopy glue. Canopy glue tends to glue them on real well, but it takes a while to dry, and you have to kind of hold it for a few minutes for it to set up. Whereas CA glue, you can get it to dry immediately, but it's really brittle and the parts can come off. So it's kind of, your choice as to which one you use. Try them both, see which one you like better. But I'm going to go and do some of that. When I come back, these will all be primed, and I will be putting Photo-Etch bits on the walls. So we'll kind of do a recap when we get there, and I'll show you how far along I'm going and how things are progressing. So stay tuned, everyone. All right, welcome back, everyone. So we now have a fresh coat of primer on the parts, and I've pulled out the Photo-Etch set. I'm going to attach all of the girders and all of the railings to the individual parts before we put them on. Once they're on, we'll give it one more coat of primer. This is just a light coat, so we'll do one more coat, and then we'll paint it. So one of the things that I did do, though, some of the marks on the parts where they pushed out the parts out of the injection mold right here, they have them right on the floor up front, so I sanded those off because they kind of make things look pretty bad once it's all painted. So I've removed those. I didn't bother down here because you can't really see down in the shuttle bay. One of the things I see a lot of people do is they'll go way out of their way to ultra detail their shuttle bay. And on this kit, once the whole thing is assembled, you can't really see very much in the shuttle bay unless your face is right up against the back. So I don't know about you guys, but me, I'm in my 40s now, so I can't get that close. Otherwise, it's all just a blur. I have to back off a little bit. Yeah, I know, I'm getting old. But I've never really found the need to go crazy with the shuttle bay. Also, once it's detailed, you can see this part of the floor really well. You can partially see down in here, but everything else is pretty much blocked by this lip. So there's absolutely no reason to go crazy detailing down there. You can also see on the walls, you can see this part here, and you can see this part here. Back here it starts to get a little hairy trying to see it, and you can see the very back wall as well, mostly because it's the back wall. But if you're planning on putting people in there, there's people on the Photo-Etch set that you can detail, or you can get third-party ones and just paint them up to work in there. I did that on my first refit and on my 1/350 TOS, which they're all right over there. But you can do that as well. So I use CA glue to glue them down so that they don't pop off later. But for now, I'm going to start cutting the Photo-Etch bits off, and we'll start attaching them. Now, one tool that really comes in handy with Photo-Etch is my Dremel. What I use is the sanding drum to remove the little burrs off of the parts. So when you cut a part off, you use like an X-Acto blade on a piece of tile, which I've got a piece of tile here just for that. When you cut these little parts off, it leaves a burr on the part. And with a sanding drum on the Dremel, you can easily just buzz it right off without any issue. This part on the Refit, this tool is invaluable. If you have a Dremel, use it. You use it to remove plastic. You use it on, like I said, on the Photo-Etch bits. There are several areas where it really comes in handy. So if you don't have one, then I would suggest picking up at least a lower end one. You don't need to go crazy. You just have a rotary tool with a sanding drum, and you'll do fine with it. So anyway, I'm going to start putting these Photo-Etch bits on. I'll come back in a little bit and we'll see where I'm at. So stick around. Okay, welcome back everyone. So I've added 4 of the girders from the Photo-Etch set. I cut them off. They actually kind of come off in a row like that. And then I was able to trim them, use my Dremel to trim off the ears on it. And then I used CA glue to glue it on. So what we've got is a pretty nice set here, started out. They have, I believe it's like 18 or 20 of them, half on one side, half on the other. They also have girders over here, and then a big one in this divider here. And it actually it accommodates a door. You can actually drill it out if you want and make a little doorway to go from one level to the next. I'm not going to bother with this build, but on my, or actually I don't think I did it on any of my builds, to be honest, but, but you can do it if you want. So they also have a Photo-Etch piece for these windows up here. And I did not do it on my first one. I did do it on my second one. You actually just drill the windows out using, your Dremel or a pin vise or something. And then they have the windows on the Photo-Etch set. So you just trim these out and CA glue it right over there, and then use canopy glue to fill it in. So that's actually something I will probably do on this build because it's pretty easy to do. You just drill it out and put the Photo-Etch over it and you're done. So, but right now, I thought I'd show you one of the girders and how easy it is to put on. You just take your hobby knife and you trim off one of the girders off the sheet. And once you have it, you be careful not to drop it. These things vanish. They just go poof and they're gone. So you don't want to do that. You want to hang on to it so that it doesn't disappear. But now that I've got it, you can actually see here there's actually a couple of ears on it. I don't know if you can see that or not, but there's actually a couple of rough spots on it which actually get in the way if you're trying to glue this on something. So what I do is I just take my Dremel tool here and just knock them off. You put it on the lowest setting on the sanding drum and you just nick it. You don't want to hit it too hard or the part will go flying across the room. So we'll do that on these 2 here. And always try to go with the part, away from the part that you're grouting onto. You don't want to have it whisk towards it because it'll bend the brass. So try to have it, this is spinning counterclockwise, so I'm having it push away from where I'm holding it. And that's it. So this part is now deburred and ready to be put on. So now that it's ready, you take your part, you know where it's going to be put. In this case, it's going to be put right here. And then you just take a little bit of CA glue and just dab it on real carefully, like so. Of course, my CA glue is starting to get old, of course, which happens. And then you just drop it on there. Now what I'll do a lot of times is I'll use my hobby knife, or I've got an etch tool that works really well for things like this too, but just to use it to kind of push it into place, you know, and make sure that it's seated back in there right. You don't want to use your fingers because you'll stick to it, and you know, rubbing acetone on that stuff isn't fun. So just use a tool like that where you can get it in there. And then you can use either zip kicker to freeze it in place. CA glue is moisture activated, so you can actually, I usually just breathe on it, and that's plenty. And then you've got it, it's pretty well attached. It's still a little soft, but it's almost done. Yep, hard as a rock, so we're done. So I've added the 5th girder here, so I'm going to go ahead and continue and finish up both sides and just keep adding girders. There's tons of them, so we'll just keep doing it until they're done. So I will check back in a little bit later and show you kind of what it looks like with all of the Photo-Etch added. So stay tuned, everyone. All right, we've been working on the Photo-Etch for a couple of hours, and this is where we're at. I have most of the girders in. There's still a few left that go down here. These all need to be put in. They're over on the Photo-Etch fret right here, so they need to come off and go on there. As you can see, the Photo-Etch is starting to get some holes in it. I also do need to put on the railings, which are here and here. The railings, I may not paint them. It's kind of cool to have a little bit of metallic look back there, just to kind of give it a little bit of a pop. We'll see how that goes, but yeah, Photo-Etch is coming right along. I did also drill out the windows here, and I literally took my Dremel and I drilled holes and then glued the Photo-Etch right over top. So that will light up real nicely from the LED tape outside the ShuttleBay. So that should make things real nice. So I'm going to continue on this, and when all the Photo-Etch is in, I'll be back and we'll start talking about colors, what colors we're going to paint this thing, and we'll get her together. So be back in a bit.